Welcome to Connections, Forum for Relationship, Expression, and Healing. This is episode 38, and our special guest for today is Ming Ooi. Say hello, T.
Hi everyone, I'm glad to be here.
Yes. And the title for this episode is Mental and Emotional First Aid, a 7-step system to transform difficult emotions. In our shows, we are offering talks, interviews regarding the most important areas in human life, such as relationship, personal expression, and self-development, and as well cultural development. And in addition, healing. The purpose for our shows is to give you inspiration and also teach you new skills with which you can handle the issues which are connected with our topics. So before I introduce our special guest today, some information about your hosts. I am Margarita Crystal Lotus. I'm an intuitive life and business mentor who help professional women overcome emotional overwhelm and stress and restore their energy so that they can have fulfilling relationships and watch their career flourish. And so to find more about me and my services, you can go to my website, crystallotus.com. And over to you, Heidi.
Yeah, thank you, Margarita. I'm Heidi Hörnlein from thepowerofrelationship.com. I'm a transformational coach and a relationship counselor and also a voice therapist. And I work with people who don't feel yet fully realized in their life. I help them to explore their full potentials and to live a deeply fulfilling, happy life. And I'm also the founder of the cultural association Paradiso Integrale here in Italy, which is also a retreat center where me and my husband Mark, lead retreats for couples, relationship topics. So far for me. And I want to introduce a little bit Ming Ooi. She is the creator of the mental and emotional first aid method. She's an explorer of the mind-body-spirit connections. She shares her discoveries, her knowledge, and her experience through being a transformational life coach, a little bit like we, but she has another topic. And she is a workshop leader for wellness, and she is a splendid live show on Google Hangouts, where I actually met Ming about a year ago. She's the author of 5 Minutes to Less Stress, and she is the publisher of the digital magazine Splendid Business and Life. And as a speaker, she is on a mission to teach 10,000 parents and kids about her 7-step mental and emotional first aid method to transform difficult emotions into creative opportunities for personal development, happiness, and inner peace. And this is exactly the topic where we want to talk about today. So before we dive into it, I want to remind our watchers, if they are live or later in the recording, please leave your comments and we will always read it and we will come back to you. So thank you. Ming, hello again, and tell me, what is this, your mission, your big emotional enterprise, let's say?
Okay, so to give you some context, back in February of this year, I had like a wake call, and it's basically one of the teenagers at my kids' high school attempted suicide. So it's a close friend of my daughter's, and so I thought, it's not who I think would do something like that because he's a star student, on the swim team, and just really seems to have everything going for him. So it really puzzled me as to why he would do something like that. And I realized that high school students, especially high performers, have a lot of stress, even though their parents might not be the one who are, putting the pressure on them. They feel the need to perform, and sometimes it's too much pressure. Um, so it got me into thinking whether I had prepared my own children to handle the pressures of life, like if they get upset about certain things or they were really overwhelmed by their emotions because of some that happens socially, they, well equipped to deal with all of that. Then I realized that I hadn't done anything about that really. So I thought, oh my gosh, I'm gonna do something, right? So and then over the next few days, there's news of like people who actually committed suicide. I thought, okay, this must be a sign that I should be doing something about this problem. Um, so and I I did a lot of research and I thought, well, what if I come up with a system that people could use to just walk themselves back from the ledge of, like the ultimate, their only perceived only solution, right? And so I came with a 7-step mental and emotional first aid method, um, not just for others, but actually also for me, because I would say I'm like quite an emotional person. I feel very deeply sometimes, and I need a way to deal with what I feel, so that I can transform difficult emotions into um, more creative opportunities for personal growth, inner peace, and happiness. So I created this system for me, my kids, for others, for their kids, and so that's why I have it as my mission, to reach 10,000 parents and kids by December 31st of 2015. And I thank you for this opportunity to talk about my 7-step mental emotional first aid method.
This is really, really inspiring, Ming. I'm very excited to help you share your message. I mean, I know also in my country is Sweden. There is a lot of the same things going on with young men in particular who has the highest suicide rate in the top of the world almost. So yeah, it is a huge problem. So thank you so much for dealing with that.
You're welcome.
Can you describe your system a little bit in more detail, please?
Yeah,
Okay,
I would like first to come in and say just an observation how life goes. Something happens, and then you find your mission. Before you maybe were going there and here and looking out, yeah, I am a transformational life coach, but now you have found the topic which is really on your heart and where you put such a great commitment in, 10,000 people to gift them with your 7-step method. I think it's really amazing how life works.
yeah, it's like, whoa, switch of direction here. And I think 10,000 goal, the 10,000 figure is very doable with, the help of people like you to help me reach that goal. So it's doable. So I'm determined to reach it.
So if you like to talk a little bit about the 7 steps and how you implement them, how you do that.
Sure. The first step is just to acknowledge that you are facing this difficult emotion, because I think when somebody doesn't acknowledge their feelings, they're not going to do anything about that. So that's the first step, to just acknowledge and accept that you have these difficult emotions and to be open to working on them, right? And then I was going to do it. Huh?
I think this is one of the most difficult things, for people to acknowledge that there is something which is bothering them. Because when you're inside of this circuit of emotions, you're feeling like overwhelmed, and you wouldn't admit, at least that's my experience, that there is something which needs some change. So I'm wondering how can you lead people to acknowledge and know that this is time for that, to acknowledge it?
I think just by telling the story of how I started this, and for people to realize that, you know, when we suppress our emotions, they don't die. They are buried alive, basically, and then they just erupt in the most inappropriate places and when you least expect it, and just affect your life, that way. So feelings that are unexpressed uh, is something that is, I would say, you need to deal with before it really just goes out of control. On the other hand, we kind of simply express our feelings in whichever way we want, like don't just explode in anger and stuff like that. So there is a balance on how you express these feelings that you have, for example, anger, right? So what I've done in the 7-step mental emotional first aid method is to kind of, if you are furious, let's say, so let's go through this. So step 1, acknowledge. I am furious. I'm furious because, maybe that person just cut in front of me in traffic. And, I felt endangered. And so I'm angry because something could have happened. Like we could have had an accident, right? So the second step is to breathe. So driver cuts me off. Okay, breathe. Step 2, breathe, okay? So I'm going to breathe in. Breathe out. Let's say breathe in for the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And then the third step is to change my physical state. So it could be just changing my posture. Maybe I was just hunched over my steering wheel. So maybe I should be like that. Or I could move my tongue down, and that kind of lowers your anxiety state a little bit. Or you could, just keep breathing.
We cannot hear the last thing about the tongue because you were sort of, there was a delay there.
Doing too much? I see. Okay. So, yeah, for your tongue, if you just rest it at the bottom of your mouth, just kind of relax. It's like a relaxed pose, right? So, um, it will, just calm you down a little bit. But just continue to breathe.
Okay, I wanted to say as a hint, when I teach singing and the relaxation of the tongue, I say, you must feel like a little bit stupid, so the tongue falls down, like, look at me, face like a little bit.
Or you can do, yoga, the lion's breath, right? You go, like that, right?
Yeah, I can do that.
Change your physical state because you feel kind of funny. And okay, so if you were in a room with somebody and you had some kind of argument, you just want to, just kind of stop that energy, you can leave, move to a different room. So by changing your physical state, just changing your posture, you can actually use your legs, move out of the room to another place where you can actually deal with your difficult emotions. So brings me to step 4, which is to direct your emotional release through tapping on your acupressure points and integrating the left side and the right side of your brain hemispheres. Okay,
I
so
wanted still to interfere a little bit about the changing of your posture. You know, there was a famous Italian film with a comic, and he was a priest, and he fell in love with young girls. And so, what did he for these emotions? He went out and hacked the wood. Hacking the wood, chopping the wood, you know, until he came over these difficult emotions. So physical movement, and if it is, for instance, an aggressive emotion, it's good that you find something to let it out, really, and get rid of it.
Can you send that priest over to me here for my wood here?
I didn't hear you, Margarita. What did you just say?
I have some wood here that needs to be hacked up or cut up. So I wonder if you can send that priest over here to hack this wood pile up.
Yeah, it was Adriano Celentano, an Italian famous actor. We were asking. Okay.
So yeah, good point. Like any physical, you know, kind of exercise, hacking wood, or just going running, you know, or jumping or anything like that, where you move your body a lot, right? Dancing or just moving to music, you know, that would help the emotions pass. So we're back to step 4, I think, right? Direct your emotional release through tapping on your acupressure points. These are different acupressure points. So you have acupressure points where your brow meets the bridge of your nose. So left side and right side. So it's kind of symmetrical, right? Left side and right side. There are acupressure points here at the edge of your eyes, under your eye, right? So there are different points like that. And in my interview with Dr. Daniel Benor, who is the creator of the WE method, WE stands for Holistic Hybrid of EFT and EMDR. And he also calls his method transformational holistic reintegration. So basically, his method combines EFT, which is tapping on acupressure points while focusing on your distressing emotions or images or event, and just tap, right? Tap while focusing. And the other one, EMDR, stands for eye movement desensitization reprocessing, which is a type of therapy that has been proven to be quite effective with soldiers suffering from PTSD to reduce their trauma. So it's basically moving your eyes left and right, or just engaging the left and right sides of the brain through hearing tones on the right side of your ear or the left ear, like that, kind of in turn alternating, right? Or what he did was he has this butterfly hug. So where you just put your hands on your bicep, so you cross your arms and put your hands on your biceps, and you just pat your arm left, right, left, right, left, right. Okay. You can also even pat your uh, your thighs, like right, left, right, left. So put your hands on your lap and then pat them alternating. Oh, if you want to be surreptitious about it, you can tap with your toes and nobody will think you're doing something weird. So you can tap your toes.
I have a question there.
Yeah.
Do you cross your arms on the thighs?
On your thigh, I don't think so. You can just do it.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, in my workshop with Boy Scouts, I showed them how to kind of, I call them call it waking up your brain, right? So I had them march in different ways, right? So I had them march where they had used the right hand and the right leg up. So it's kind of weird. Legs up, and the other part was right hand and left leg up. So it's more of the natural way to march, crossing. And the other one, like, it's as if you're doing some kind of aerobics class where you have touch your elbow, so right elbow to the left knee, so you're crossing the central line of your body.
Yay,
Left
I'm
elbow
getting
to
a
right.
yoga exercise here this morning.
I know. Hey, wake up, everyone. Yeah. So basically, the main idea is to just integrate left and right sides, and you can do that by doing movements that crosses the midline of your body, or you alternate movement right and left sides of your body. And then tapping on the acupressure points, what it does is studies have shown that when you tap on your acupressure points, or when you actually put real needles on acupressure points, it lowers your stress hormones. Okay, so well, in EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, we use our hands, not needles. So no fear of needles. Just use our hands to tap on the acupressure points. Okay. Um, so for example, let's do this, right? So my problem was somebody cut me off in front of traffic. Right? So I'm gonna picture that in my mind. That's where I'm aiming. So this is a basic procedure. I'm gonna aim at my problem, right? So, okay, somebody cut me off in front of the traffic. I wanna think about or remember how it felt like and what the images and sounds and everything were associated with this upsetting event, right? So I think about that, and then I'm gonna tap on it. Tap, 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 right? Okay. So that's, as you tap on it and think about it, then you are going to be, reducing your stress levels. But if you just think about it and you don't tap or do any of this, it actually makes it worse, because then you are not releasing the connection between your emotions tied to the event, right? You're not snipping the connections. So
This is
make
actually
sure.
what happens. What happens to many people when they think about it and go into a loop of rethinking, rethinking, and rethinking, even if they try to do it rationally and look for the causes and everything and think they are very smart, but this ruminating on these things makes it worse when you don't have a technique like the one you have described.
Yeah, that's right. So by tapping our acupressure points, we are accessing the body uh, to reach the amygdala, which is the almond-shaped structure inside our brain here. Two, right? Right and left, right? And what the amygdala's role is like a fire alarm. It says, "Whoa, something is really dangerous." Da 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 da. Dee da dee da. Stand out, stress hormone, fear of flight response, fear of flight or freeze response. Right? It's sending out all these neurochemicals all over your body to prepare you to act. And that's very stressful, like adrenaline or cortisol, whatever. All those kind of neurochemicals are preparing you to do something. All right. But if you're constantly in that high alert mode, it gets really tiring. It's very stressful for your body. So, when we tap, we're sending a signal saying, it's okay, it's safe, right? No alarm, false alarm. So that's how it works. So you're accessing the structures of your brain basically and saying, it's all right, it's okay, it's safe, calm down, okay? While you're actually remembering what it was. So as you go through this tapping, you want to evaluate: are you getting more upset, or you're less upset, or did some other feeling come up, or some other images come up that is making more upset? So it could go like you are more upset, you can, or you are less upset now about whatever it was you thought about, or something new pops in your head, and you're like, huh, well, that reminded me of when somebody, insulted me this morning or something like that. So sometimes our memories are linked to other memories of a similar kind of feel, right? So something that sets you off later might not be like the actual, huge event, right? It could be something small that sets you off later, but it's you have a disproportionately huge reaction because before that were um, similar events of kind of like a similar feeling. So the feelings build up, build up, build up, and you didn't process it to release those feelings. You thought you got over it, but it's still there somewhere, right? And then, boom! You explode! So, um, what I want people to do is just, have this habit of tapping on whatever upsets you so that you can just kind of release it daily, release your stress daily. Um, so I think I've talked a lot about step four. We're only step four. Let me go to step five. So step five is to embrace your imagined positive outcome. So let's say you were worried about something, and your upsetting emotion is perhaps you were worried that somebody is going to do something that you don't like, fire you, whatever. Okay. So what you want to hold in your mind and to feel is whatever you want as a final outcome, not what you fear, but the opposite, what you want, what you want the final outcome to be, your desired outcome. To hold that in your head and in your mind, to think, okay, well, my boss is just gonna love my proposal. It's gonna go this way, and if I were kind of anxious about a presentation, I would have in my mind that, the audience is standing up, giving me a standing ovation, and I'm feeling so grateful, and I'm like, wow, it's wonderful to be here. So that is what you want to do. You want to imagine your positive outcome, okay, and get yourself in that really, celebratory, grateful state that it has occurred. This desired outcome that you already have it. So, and that will put you in such a resourceful state that, you know, your day as you go forth with this wonderful, wonderful resourceful state will be changed because everybody will be reacting to you differently. It's like, whoa. All right. So that's step five. Just two more to go.
Can I ask a question there? Can I ask a question there with you,
Sure.
Timmy?
Yeah.
So, how well does your client respond to these first four steps here?
The first four steps here. Well, I think they respond really well because it's naturally flows, right? It's like, oh, you have a problem, you acknowledge, you breathe, and you change your thing. Then that gives you a little breather to kind of deal with it, right? So, and you have experienced step four, Margarita, actually. When you did it when I interviewed you with Dr. Benor, and we went over the steps of that we method. That's step four, where you actually, and you had it for um, a physical pain in your neck, but as we dug deeper, it's actually related to something that is very tied to an emotional, incident in your life. So, sometimes physical pain, there is also a emotional component to it. So you can use this method even for physical pain. You hurt yourself, you had an injury, or you had a diagnosis of a chronic illness. This is the system you can help yourself to kind of be less anxious, be less fearful. You can tap on the doctor's diagnosis, what you know about the situation, what you read on the internet, what other people have told you, and things like that, what you believe about the situation. And then as you tap on it, these things will be not so, I say, so troubling to you, and you will feel like a sense of new hope. So I know when Dr. Benoit worked with you to talk about your feelings and things like that, right? You felt a shift,
Definitely.
right, Margarita? And people can go to the video, and we can put it on this
Yeah.
page if you like, to actually see for themselves, because that's a very great example of the transformation that occurs when somebody goes through this process, especially step 4, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
It
was
really worked. I
asking
mean, the
you.
pain was gone instantaneously, and I also connected deeper.
Yeah.
What I was going to ask you, Timing, is to tell us where to find the video. Do you have it on your website or on your YouTube
Yeah.
channel?
Yeah, it's my website. And will be on my Teaming Connections channel. It's definitely in my personal channel.
Yes. So can you write
Yeah.
it down in the event page after the event where the people can
Yeah,
find
I
that?
will. Yeah, yeah, I'll do that. I'll paste the YouTube link there.
Good.
Mm. And yeah, people see for themselves, the transformation that is possible for them.
Wonderful. So we
Okay.
are at step 5 now, and we go to step 6, isn't it?
Yeah, so step 6 is I kind of debated whether to put step 6 and 7 into this method because I was like, okay, 5 is pretty long already, and 7 is probably like max. But I thought it is really important not to leave out step 6 and 7. They're kind of long-term things you want to practice. So step 6 is actually forgiveness, to forgive yourself and others for whatever things that you may feel that um, that is not okay. So you want to forgive yourself because sometimes we're so hard on ourselves. I think like people, for example, me, um, I always want things to be done like of a certain standard, right? So sometimes I get a little, I would say, hard on myself that I didn't do something, perfectly. And well, I have instituted this practice of forgiveness for myself and actually more compassion and less judgment so that, you can live a less stressful life. Um,
And how do you do that, Timmy? How do you do that?
so we can do it in while we are in like a meditative mode. Like, what we can do is we can imagine ourselves just okay. So for example, you you have this uh, resentment against someone for doing something to you. So imagine that there's a thread of energy connecting you to that person. And what you want to do is, you want to imagine yourself taking a big pair of scissors. So you have the scissors of empowerment. And you want to like just snip the thread of energy that connects you with the other person. And you can do this in meditation, or you can just sit down and just kind of imagine, close your eyes, and just imagine and say, as you snip, you're saying, well, I'm taking back my power. I'm taking back my power, and I forgive you, and I forgive myself. And I forgive myself actually because I've been wasting a lot of my energy just maintaining that resentment. Because to hold a grudge against somebody, to be filled with hate against somebody, it takes your energy. It takes a lot of your energy. Once you just stop, leaking your energy out that way, you feel more like you have more energy for the things that you love doing. So it's actually related to step number 7, which is gratitude. To give thanks for all the good in your life. Because when you give thanks to the things that are good in your life, you'll get more of it. So what you focus on appreciates. So you want to focus on the positive things that are in your life and not waste energy on the ones that are not. So the power of forgiveness is actually it is for yourself. It's for yourself to be free from the chains that bind you to the past so that you can create a better future for yourself. And the power of gratitude is to kind of start your day right feeling grateful for all the things that are good in your life, and you get more of it because what we're grateful for and we focus on, we'll get more of. So let's say, for example, this is a very, I guess, a mundane kind of example. My youngest daughter plays the violin, so I noticed like in her class, in during her lesson, her violin teacher always focuses on what she's doing right. And I used to always focus on, whoa, that doesn't sound right. That's out of tune. Oh no, it's like not right. And I would be saying, you know, play in tune, or whatever it is, right? But her violin teacher always focuses on, emphasizes what is right. And over time, my daughter just plays so much better. And she feels like, okay, I still want to continue with violin, right? I'm not like having this negative association of I can't do it right in my mind, right? So yeah, I have a very I guess a debt of gratitude to my violin teacher for showing that to me.
This is wonderful, Timing, really wonderful.
Thank you.
And you are
Oh, and
with this 7-step process, you are practically giving also a spiritual teaching to people.
yeah, because I think the mind, body, and spirit is very connected. Especially I think our mind body. What do we do to our mind affects our body, and our body affects our mind. What we do to our body affects our mind too. Um, and we have these neurochemicals in our body, that are actually molecules of emotion, right? Because emotions actually are made up of different combinations of neurochemicals, and they, latch onto the receptor sites in different parts of our body, and then we interpret these sensations and label them. Oh, this is what I'm feeling, and make judgments about that, right? So actually, I would say emotions, whether they be negative or positive, are not something to be avoided. They're actually our guidance system. They tell us whether our needs are being met or not, right? So it's like a GPS. um, so how we then act on these emotions, that's another thing, right? Because I've been reading about nonviolent communication, because I was like, how can I not resort to blame, shame, and guilt to get my kids to do chores around the house, or to do things that would be good for their performance at school and things like that. So how can I do that without blame, shame, or guilting them into doing things? So I've been studying nonviolent communication. And it's really good because what they emphasize on is, you know, you want to talk about what you observe in a very non-judgmental way. For example, if your kids have their stuff lying all around the house, you say that you say, well, I noticed that you have your book on the carpet, blah blah, blah, and then you want to explain like how you feel about it and what your needs are behind that feeling, but in a very non-judgmental way, because you want to express your needs, and then you want to also make a request that they can either uh, grant you your request or not. You don't want to force them to do something, because nobody likes to be forced to do something. Well, I don't like to be forced to do something. But the reason
You are bringing
yeah,
up a whole new topic, which would be worthwhile to do an extra episode about it, because
that's true.
nonviolent
That's true.
communication is very interesting. It has its very good sides, but also its downsides. So
Yeah.
maybe we find another appointment, and with that, we have to wrap up in about 3 minutes. And what I would like to ask you, you have posted, no, maybe we can go over a little bit, but you have posted a picture where you actually are teaching in a classroom. So you are doing this 10,000 people teaching not only virtually, but you do it also live. And tell a little bit more about your upcoming events, please.
Oh, okay. So I started giving live talks in around my local area, which is in Southern California. And I've talked with parents who I know, in like Boy Scout troops in different situations, and you know, like just people I know locally. Um, and I also presented workshops to Boy Scouts because I want the kids to learn how to use this system. So that's why I, wanted to do a live demo. It's always very interactive because, sixth graders and up, well, they're not very, I would say, have a very long attention span. So you have to keep it very interactive and interesting and, participative and engaging. So it's always fun for me to do things like that because, I don't know, I just love teaching kids. And, you know, um, I am open to having a workshop anywhere, um, I can get to. And
Wonderful.
also
So
online.
if a school teacher is interested, they can ping you and ask you to come and do a session in their school with you.
Yeah, if it's physically,
Sure.
and financially possible, yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't fly to Europe to do that, probably.
Unless I was there for vacation and could arrange it somehow. I would love to do that. Yeah.
But I think it's a very, very wonderful initiative you are taking, and you will bring it out to people, you will help them, and maybe avoid some other cases of tentative suicide. I hope so.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah,
are
that's
at
my.
the end. Margarita, what is your final considerations?
Well, I am so excited about Tia Ming's system, so I'm making tons of notes here for myself. But the greater takeaway for me is that all spiritual systems are the same. And Tia Ming, you're bringing that concept that all spiritual teaching are the same. And it is really true for any healing method. I mean, I work a lot with healing, and exactly those steps you describe is also in what I do. So there is nothing new on the planet, really, but we have to remember what actually the spiritual teachings in essence is, and you've actually expressed that very, very well here. So that's my takeaway, and it would be really, really great to have you back and, for example, talk about the communication of these things. And so I'm very grateful for your input, and I can tell you the session with you last week with
Dr. Bernard.
Dr. Menard, yeah, was really helpful because he and you assisted me to get to a deeper level of what I previously had worked on, and it went back to before the car accident I had in age 19. So I could talk about that another time, but I'm very grateful for you and having the connection with you. Okay, and don't forget, right, to go to hangoutonconnections.com for the replay of this episode. Over to you, Heidi.
Yeah, I would invite Ming that you take a final word, what you want to just give away at the last minute.
Well, I just want to encourage people to use tapping and to tap daily, because the more you tap, the more you heal. And I will put the YouTube link on the Google event page so that you can see the effect it had on Margarita.
Wonderful. And my takeaway is a little bit like Margarita's, that in the package of helping people to go handle their emotions in a better way so that it's not a fatal outcome at the end, you sort of transmit a spiritual teaching, and spiritual teachings in their essence are very, very similar. It's all about how to, not all. There are some spiritual teachings which are going out of the body and out of the emotions, but what we are concerned about is more to get to know ourselves better by breathing, for instance, and by knowing and owning our emotions and being able to really handle them without normal thing which we did so far, pushing them away so that then, like a pressure cooker, they come up and create damage. So this was for me very, very interesting. And I thank you very much, Ming, again, to be here and to have me introduced to Google Hangouts a year ago. I'm really, really grateful to you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, and we have a little bit unusual day today, because tonight at it's for me, it's tonight 8:30 p.m. For you in Eastern, it's 2:30 p.m. and in Pacific is 11:30 a.m. We will have another show, an extra show for a person who has a webinar tomorrow. It is about awakening the elephant in you. She is a filmmaker making films about elephants, and I think it will be very, very, very interesting. Whoever is there, come and watch it.
Sounds intriguing.
And our next regular event will be on Thursday. Margarita, do you want to talk about that a moment?
Yes, it's talking about humor that heals, laughter, and with the Elaine Niederberg. So I will invite today to this episode. I haven't done that yet, but it's coming up, and I'm so excited to talk about humor, laughter, and happiness as a method of healing.
Wonderful. So stay tuned. And if you want to watch the replays, go to our website where we post all of our videos, hangoutonconnections.com. So see you later, Thursday. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.